Hi, welcome back to 2000 Pack.
Today we're going to do a video guide on how to change the tire on your veteran Lynx. So with the Lynx, Patton, and Sherman S, the strategy is quite similar. The motor cable routes to the right side of the wheel. So we're going to take off the left half in order to expose the tire and change it out. So first we're going to remove the top cover. This will give us access to the battery terminals. So we're going to slide out the two pieces, which will expose the two 3mm screws. And then there's another two on the outer sides of it. So let's take those off. So with that removed, we should be able to lift this cover off. Now with the screws removed, you should be able to pry it off. It might get a little bit stuck here and there, but a little bit of prying and it'll come right off. Now that we have the top cover removed, what I'm going to do is I'm going to put this wheel on its side, right side down, left side up, in order to remove this one panel and all the accessories and let it be free. In removing the accessories, instead of removing all the accessories from the battery box, the strategy that I like to employ is to remove the center bars, and this will allow you to lift it off while keeping the mounts stuck to the battery box. This is also because it's easier to strip or cross thread the threads that are into the battery boxes versus the threads that are in the rods. These are all 5mm. Now with those three removed, the next step is to release your trolley handle. So there's just one Phillips screw that holds the handle in place. So if you unscrew that, it will allow you to pull this rod away from the handle, which will allow you to remove the battery box. Now, the next step is to remove the 4mm screws that hold on the battery as the 5mm that hold up the shock. So let's do the 5mm first, and then we'll go ahead and do the battery ones. Now with all the screws removed, we'll go ahead and unplug the battery. And we should be able to lift this battery box right off the wheel. There you go.
Oh, just like that, one piece.
Now with the battery removed, the next step will be to release the suspension. The shock assembly will be removed, and then the front mudguard that's holding on. So these are all 4mm. With that out of the way, we should be able to lift up the suspension, or the shock, I should say, just like that. And now the last thing will be to remove this plastic, I guess, mudguard holder in order to get access to the tire. So to do that, we got two 5mm that hold this part up. And this should be free, yep. And the next step will be to release this. So if you release these 4 3mm, you should be able to slide the mudguard bracket out. And just like that, you are now free to work on the tire. So we're going to go ahead and remove the valve stem to release the air from the tube, so we can go and change this tire to the street tire. That Chinese air.
Ew.
So now we're going to squeeze this tire and see if we can get it off the bead. Can you hold that for me? Yeah. Okay, just hold it down for me, yeah?
Sick.
Now, if you're on the floor, this will probably be easier, but because we're on the stand...
Whoa. You left to me up.
There you go. So there you go. You break the bead all the way around, and then make sure you pull up on the bead as well to break the bottom side. So once the bead's broken, you can go ahead and use our tire spoon to pull the tire off the rim. Whoops. Yeah. There you go. Okay. Now let's remove the tube. My finger jujitsu. There you go. Great. Okay, let me flip this wheel around. The bead is on there quite well. Okay. There you go. Once it's off the bead, we can go ahead and continue.
Need a break?
Okay, let's go. Boom. Oh, there you go. Now what we're going to do is we're going to put the street tire on it. And this street tire is a tubeless tire. And the rim is also a tubeless rim. So what we're going to do is we're going to throw in a tubeless valve. Gotta pull it through.
Gonna put that rubber through? Put it
Just
in the
partially,
middle?
yeah.
Oh.
So you can squeeze the tire into that little groove with one hand while you push it down with the other. Make sure again that this is the front of the wheel. So I have my V orientation and the rotation on the tire. You can see the rotation mark. So you want the tire to rotate this way when it's in its forward direction. Just easing it onto the rim. There you go. Once this bead is done, we're going to do the second one. Now with these newer tires, it'll be a little bit less flexible. So you might need to kind of squeeze it and help it out a little bit more. But you'll see it pop right in. Now squeezing it like this into the groove will give you more flexibility and make it easier to put the tire on.
It's a full body exercise.
It's popping up on me. So I have to grab a second spoon here to keep it down, just to lock it in, yeah. Now we'll pull this tire out of the groove just so that we can give it a better chance to seating. Okay, and let's get our compressor and pump it up. Now when mounting the tubeless tire onto the rim, you may not have success if you try to use an electric air pump. So ideally you'll want to have a compressor of some sort or go to a gas station to try and seat that bead. So you'll see it pop, and once it pops, it's into place. But we need to make sure the bottom side is also in place. So I'm just rolling my fingers through this ledge to make sure that it's all in place at the bottom. So yeah, over here, I can feel that it hasn't popped fully. So we'll have to fill it up a little bit more and wait for this pop. Where is it? It's right here. There you go. So you heard that loud pop. That pop means that it's fully seated. We've got about 34 PSI in our tire. Let's put it up to 40 is a bit much. 38. And there you go. Now the tire is fully seated. You can kind of spin it. So now let's go ahead and put the rest of the wheel back together. So I'm going to put that mud guard that fell out a while ago back into place. We'll grab this plastic and slowly sleeve it through here. and then down onto the mudguard. Then we'll want to grab the 4 3mm the 4 3mm screws. And then you'll get your 2 long 5mm for the mudguard. Now with that in place, it's time to put your shock back on. So we'll sleeve it through the top into the hole. You'll see the whole red ring disappear. So if it's placed like this, it's not fully in. So you want to make sure you squeeze it all the way up. Okay? And then place it down onto the shock clamp. And we'll grab our plate. So with this plate, because if these screws get loose, it will cause the vibrating or jackhammering. What I like to do is actually place some Loctite on them. And because this is the dirtier side, I'll put the dirtier side down. I was going to pre-thread all 4 of these screws before I tighten them down, because I want to make sure that the clamp is on there nice and straight. So just pre-threading them. Once they're threaded in there, this clamp will not sit perfectly on your face. So when you're putting it down, you want to put down even pressure around, and you don't want it to be flat on one side and not touching on the other. They won't be touching on either side. So we're going to come down. I'll screw down this side a little bit, and then I'll go to the opposite corner. And then I'll see if this gapping is similar to the other side. So it's a bit bigger. So I'll loosen a little bit. And then I'll check this gapping here between the 2 plates. And if you come on this side, Christy, you'll want to check the gapping here between those 2 plates. So as you can see, you'll want them kind of to be similar. It shouldn't be one side touching and one side loose. Now that the suspension is on, we're going to put this back on. Now, keep in mind that you see this ledge here, and you see this opening where the cables need to go through. So when putting the battery pack on, you need to align the top part and then drop it down the bottom, aligning these notches to the notches that are on the battery here. You see these holes? This hole? This, I mean, no.
Yes.
Okay, this hole, the gap is going to line up with this ledge that's sticking up. Okay? So you're going to throw the cables through these slits. Make sure you lift up your trolley handle so that... Make sure we line up the cables so it doesn't get pinched. Line up that. And looks like all is well. So what we're going to do is we're going to take our 4mm bolts and we're going to thread those on first so that we know that the battery boxes are lined up. No, we're not going to tighten them, but we're going to thread it so it doesn't run away on us. Once that's threaded, you can go ahead and make sure all your handles and kickstands are put in the right place. And then we'll go ahead and thread our suspension screws. So these are the 5mm ones. Now with these ones, again, you want to put that Loctite on it just to make sure it doesn't loosen on you while you are riding. So we're not going to tighten them, we're just going to pre-thread them all. Why do I like to do which way?
This way.
I like to do that way so that it's evenly, yeah, it's like doing car nuts on a car tire rim. Oh, it allows everything to be evenly placed so you don't end up having a high spot, or you're not forcing screws to go in. As you can see, I'm barely pulling the trigger on this power drill to make sure that the threads go in properly instead of railing into it right away. Now with all those guys pre-threaded on there, we're going to leave all that, and we're going to go ahead and put in the 3 bolts for the kickstand, rear handle, front handle.
Why not tighten it first?
I want to put all the screws in first, and then I'll tighten those at the end.
Everything at the end?
Yeah. And we'll throw on our This one you can do later if you really want to. So there's a little hole here, if you can see that, that you need to thread.
To see.
Yeah, there's a hole in there that you need to thread this rod into. Right there. You can barely see it.
Yeah.
A little hole.
You'll feel it.
You'll feel it, yeah. Once you have that threaded in, you go ahead and match up your trolley handle. And then I like to do this one by hand because it is quite sensitive. And if you strip your bolts and you bought your wheel from eWheels, they actually have a new trolley insert package that goes in there to prevent the sensitivity of that screw stripping out. Okay?
Yes.
Now that that's done, all the screws are in place, we'll go ahead and go backwards and tighten the center, then the battery boxes, and then the outsides. Let's go ahead and do that. Now that that's done, we'll tighten up the battery box screws. And then we'll tighten up the screws for all the handles. Now that that's done, we can flip the wheel upwards and put back the top cover.
We need to plug it in.
Oh yeah, that's right.
It's okay.
We can do that when we flip it up.
So you're having a hard time working on this wheel.
It's so heavy.
Oh.
There you go. We need even lighter wheels. Or I need to work out.
Maybe I need to work out first.
Maybe. So we'll go ahead and plug these back in and then try to tuck them in there like they were a while ago. Now we'll grab this top cover, and when putting this down, you just want to make sure that all your cables are nicely tucked. Perfect. It should fit on just like that. Nice and easy. Once you have it in this stage, then we can go ahead and screw it down. Once that's done, we can go ahead and slide our suspension covers back on.
How is it?
Not bad. A little bit heavy.
I see a lot of sweat.
Yeah, I still prefer, when you take the motor out of the wheel instead of having to manipulate the whole wheel. It's not as easy as a V14, but it's also not that hard.
I like how it come out one piece.
Which one, the battery pack?
Yeah.
Yeah, you split it in half and you take out the half side.
I remember when we did the pad and we kind of like turned the handlebar or whatever.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, this is a new way I found to do it. That's a lot easier and then also reduces the probability of stripping screws onto your battery boxes. So we try to improve and find ways to do it more consistently and reliably with lowering the probability of damage. Christine's test ride of the new tire.
Let's see.
How's it feel?
Oh, my shoe slipped. Now I don't want the pedal anymore. Did you see it though?
Probably the camera saw it.
Oh my gosh, you see how forward my shoes went?
So if you want better grip on the Lynx, eWheels does have the Beto CNC pedals for you to purchase.
That was scary.
Or you can do it the DIY cheap method, which is you take an angle grinder to the pedal nubs to make it sharper.
Right there, right?
No, at the top, all the nubs.
Oh, here?
Yeah, you angle grind it to make it sharp.
Not like what you did.
No, that's different. That's for the dihedral angle.
Ah.
So what do you think of the tire?
It's good.
Yeah, smooth, carvy. Any lumps? No? Perfect. I got the Christine seal of approval.
It's fun. It's fun. Let's go back. Bye.
So that brings us to the end of the Lynx tire change. Now you can see this beautiful tubeless street tire on it.
Like, subscribe, and ding the ding dong. See you in the next video. Bye.